We've got to start off with roster changes. I know this is going to be long, but just bear with me, stick through it, man. So, of course, Brunson, Robinson, Hart, McBride, Sims, Anunoby, Achiuwa, and Toppin are all returning. Additions, Cat, Bridges, Payne, Kulik, Dadier, Hukporti, McCuller. Guys we lost, Randall, DiVincenzo, Hartenstein, Burks, Jeffries, Milton, Washington Jr., Boyan, I have no idea how to pronounce this. Yakti, I don't know how to say that, but he went to the Suns. So we lost a lot of guys. We brought in a lot of guys. It's a completely new roster. But the Knicks believe that they now have what it takes to beat the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. And I agree with them, right? So the biggest overall takeaways from the preseason is that the team is still new. Josh Hart scored 2 points the entire preseason, and it was in the last game. We saw, of course, Mikal Bridges, what was he, 0-10 from 3 in the last game. He still has not been able to find a shot. A lot of chemistry concerns just because teams are bringing back the same team that they've been playing with for years, and the Knicks is completely new. But the Knicks, they still only lost 1 game the entire preseason. They went 4-1. It goes to show that once this team figures it out, they're going to be extremely dangerous, because the fact that they haven't figured it out and they're still winning games shows a lot. And of course, we didn't exactly beat the best of teams, right? The Hornets twice, the Wizards once, and we did beat the Timberwolves, who've got a pretty good team, 115 to 110. So there's not like that much to take away from the preseason because it's the preseason, but at the same time, the Knicks did a lot of good. They did a lot more good than they did a lot of bad. And I do think you should be encouraged, especially for the young guys, right? Because when we talk about the preseason, we're not exactly talking about the starters. We're talking about the bench, the third unit. What can these guys contribute? And from what I saw, Tyler Kulik, Ariel Hukporti, and Pacome Dadi are going to be able to contribute right away. We're still waiting on Kevin McCullough Jr. He's been injured the entire summer, and he's still injured to this point, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Another takeaway from the preseason is that Jalen Brunson's going to have incredible spacing. I mean, how many times last year did we see Brunson just going one-on-one right to the basket consistently? In the preseason, because Cat is now on the team, no more Randall, right, who wasn't the best shooter, no more Hartenstein, no more Mitchell Robinson. They took just 3 threes all of last year. Cat took more than that in his first game as a Knick. Well, Brunson, he had a lot of space, and his efficiency was just absurd. I mean, Brunson, was he 10 of 15 last game, guys? I mean, he's going to get a lot of open looks this year because of the spacing. I would not be surprised at all if the Knicks win 63, 65 games and Brunson wins MVP. I wouldn't even be surprised, right? Pretty crazy to think about. And speaking of Cat, he didn't just space the floor. He didn't just shoot the basketball. He didn't just rebound at a very high rate. He looks ready to defend. This was one of the biggest overall takeaways from the Knicks, is that Cat as a defender is absolutely legit. Everyone talks about going out and getting Rudy Gobert last season for the Timberwolves, but who was guarding Durant? Who was guarding Jokic in the playoffs? It was not Gobert, it was Karl-Anthony Towns, and his defense is something that the Knicks definitely need right now without Mitchell Robinson, because he's our best overall interior defender. We know Sims is not a good defender. Hukporti is going to be an NBA rookie at least. He did play 4 years, of course, in Germany or whatever, but right now, Cat's rim protection is going to be critical. He's also going to have to rebound. Josh Hart will help his best with that. But yeah, just seeing Cat and what he did, it was very blatant why the Knicks went out and made that trade, giving up Randall and Devo, which is a bag. They also gave up a first-round pick. But Cat, he just does exactly what the Knicks want, and that's defend, space the floor, and hit your shots. Help Jalen Brunson as much as you can, and I thought Cat did a good job of that. Huge takeaway from the preseason for the Knicks is that the Knicks' young core is ready to go. It's not that they look promising, it's that they look ready to go. Pacome Dadier played in 2 games and was incredibly efficient, did a good job cutting and knocking down his threes. We saw Tyler Kulik playmake at a veteran-like level, knock down his shots. He was extremely efficient. He played on the stretch of games, and although he did give up some buckets, he gave buckets too, right? So we know his defense is a work in progress, but Kulik legitimately looks like, if necessary, could step in and be the first guard off of the Knicks bench. And clearly we're a better offense with him out there, by far. I would even go as far as saying significantly we're better offensively with Kulik than we are with Campaign, just because of his ability to give guys open looks and knock down those open shots, and just to have that swagger, to have that confidence. And it's not a shot at Campaign, but it's just Tyler Kulik is seriously legit, and he looks like he's going to be a future star. Of course, he's so young. He's like, what, 22, 23 years old, so he's a work in progress. But what I saw in the preseason was somebody who does not fear the lights, does not fear the moment, and he could, by, let's say, I don't know, December. Let's say by December, Kulik could be a real part of the rotation if he just continues to work. And then, last but certainly not least, Ariel Hukporti. I think he's the most ready to go rookie for the Knicks, just primarily because, one, he looked good, but two, who's in front of him is Jericho Sims. I think Hukporti's probably a better overall player than Sims right now because, again, he played in Europe, which means that he is used to that physicality, that toughness, that scrapping. And not to say that Sims isn't, because Sims is what, 6'10", 255. He's just a massive man. But it's more so Sims. I'm not gonna say he looks kind of skittish at times. I think it's just he doesn't know where to be. He doesn't know where to position himself, and Hukporty has no issue doing that. And he will fight and claw his way to that basketball. We saw that in the preseason. The Knicks have a lot of talent. They have a lot of guys that I trust to play minutes, but I do think that Kolek and Hukporty could come off the bench together and develop just a dangerous pick and roll. I know the Stockton Malone comparison is going to be very obvious. I mean, that's a little bit ridiculous. Let's just be real here about that. If they became Stockton and Malone, we'd have two of some of the all-time greats off of our bench. But even if they can just play well and just be a plus in the in minus, like, I'd be very content with that. So yeah, our rookies are absolutely killing it, man. I can't wait to see what they do this season. Talking about our strengths, our biggest strengths are offensively having a lot of depth at guard and forward. Key players, which boosted both offense and defense, so Bridges and Cat, bringing back Anunoby on a massive contract. Our improved shooting from the perimeter certainly is a strength. We lost Devo, so I wouldn't say that's necessarily one of our biggest strengths, because you don't become an improved shooting team losing Dante DiVincenzo, but at the same time, I guess that is kind of fair, because we brought in Cat. Cat's a better shooter than Devo. Cat's the best shooting big of all time, and he was, 42% last year from three, so... but in terms of, we did bring in Bridges too. I guess we are improved shooting, man. That's pretty fair. Tyler Kola can shoot, so if Shamet comes back, then I would definitely agree. But solid defensive lineup with an emphasis on rim protection and perimeter defense. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the wording of that. Solid defensively with Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and OG. Anunoby, it doesn't get much better than that. We know Cat is a very high-level defender. The one weakness defensively in our starting five is Brunson, but we're going to be able to do a good job of trying to just keep him off of the ball as much as possible, and we're going to be able to switch everything. And also, Brunson still helps defensively, even though he's not the best at it, because he, first of all, he tries and he takes charges, and he will go after the basketball to rebound it. So Brunson is a pretty good rebounding guard, especially for 6'2". So yeah, I definitely think we are a much improved defensive lineup. In terms of our weaknesses, lacking depth at center, especially with the departure of Isaiah Hartenstein, not to mention that Mitchell Robinson's going to be out until at least next year. Potential vulnerability on the perimeter due to recent player losses. I don't know about that. I think we're fine in the perimeter. Dependence on staying healthy, particularly in key positions to maintain competitive edge. That I do agree with, man. Can OG stay healthy? Can Mitchell Robinson come back and actually stay on the court? I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but Jalen Brunson is our best player. He's 6'2". He did stay healthy last year up until he fractured his hand in Game 7, but can Brunson stay healthy again? Like, can Brunson stay healthy with that amount of load he's going to have? Like, that's definitely a concern. Rim protection could suffer if injuries occur, which kind of feeds off of the last point. Yeah, we're projected to win 53.5 games. Definitely take the over. I don't understand. We won 50 games last year. Why the hell would we not win more than 53? But if you guys have the money for that, definitely take that. That's literally free money. Second in the Atlantic, and second in the East, so they have Boston finishing above us, which I think is fair. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys.